Dear students, myself Abdurahman Karuthedath, Assistant Professor of Commerce, Malabar College of Advanced Studies, Vengara. Today, we will talk about how to face interview and what are the pros and cons of interview and how do you face interview confidently and how do you prepare for interviews also. At the very outset, let me ask you a simple question. Why do I need an interview strategy? What is an interview strategy? An interview strategy is a planned approach to how you will present yourself, highlight your skill, convince the employer you are the right fit to that particular job. And it's not all about a memorizing answer, but presenting yourself very smartly. Handle questions, situations, and build confidence. So, interview preparation is very, very important. Let us discuss this point. First, impression matters. Dear students, when you go for interview, you present yourself in front of HR. So, research shows employers from an opinion that 7 to 8 minutes, usually you get in 7 to 10 minutes for an interview. Within that 10 minutes, you should be able to impress yourself. So, interview strategies are a planning process. So, you need to have a strategy, help you to appear confidently, professionally, and well prepared. So, before going to an interview, you need to keep in mind certain things. And interview strategy will help you to show alignment with that particular job. Every employer is asking, why should I hire you? It's a definite question. So with a strategy, you can link your skill, projects, achievements, and directly to that particular job's requirement. So if you interview strategy, start with the planning process. So you have to keep in mind the probable questions and should be able to answer for that. You should prepare yourself. Now, reduce stress and nervousness. The third important point for an interview strategy is you have to prepare yourself because going unprepared will increase stress and you will get nervous. So avoid that. You prepare yourself and practice mock questions, clarity on strength and weakness. Practice will make you you will give you confidence. Practice, practice, practice. That is the only solution for reducing our stress. To reduce the stress, we can have some yoga or a meditation, small meditations and breathing exercises, but practice will make you perfect. Now, stand out from the competitors. A lot of people will be coming for an interview every day. So how can you stand out from the other people? For that, you have to prepare yourself, good communication, the way you talk, the way you have presented yourself in resume, plus the way you appear in front of the people and HR people will definitely help you to get selected. Everybody will have a similar degree. So how do you differentiate? How can they differentiate you from the other people? It is through your appearance, your way you communicated, your confidence, etc. The one with the clear examples, confidence and smart communication get selected. Now, handle difficult questions. Suppose, say they will ask some difficult questions. So if the answer is there in your mind, because you have already practiced, that will help you a lot. Strategy prepare to handle without panic. So difficult questions, sometimes the question will be difficult. But if you are already prepared, you would have seen people preparing for IAS exam. Say the final round of interview, final round of IAS is interview. All UPSC exam, final round is interview. They prepare a lot. Sometimes they take 1 year to prepare for that. So when you go for a job interview, you also have to prepare. Now, what should an interview strategy include? So when you make a strategy for going for a particular job interview, you should at least sit and work out for 1 week. So what are the things you have to include in that? One is research, know the company, role, industry. Go to the website of the company, search, and go to the tab, know ourselves, or about the company, about ourselves. In that, they will have a company history, management, etc. and a few financials also. And the role you are going to apply, say suppose if it is an IT job, what kind of job you are looking for, and is that particular job is there in the particular companies and that particular industry. You should have a thorough idea about a company and industry. You know what is the difference between industries and company? Company is that only that particular company, but industry is a group of related companies. For example, IT industry, Infosys company. IT industry means all the IT companies will come under IT industry, but Infosys is only a small company. So you should have some idea about the industries also, IT industries also, petroleum industries also, or banking industries also. So banking is industry, ICICI Bank, SBI is a company. Then self-assessment, identify your top strength examples. Now there is a technique called STAR techniques for learning this and telling your skill. That we will discuss later. How do we apply STAR techniques? Then practice mock interviews with the peers and mentors. It is one of the very important things. Dear students, we have to prepare ourselves. You can make a group in the class, and one person can sit as an interviewee and the other person can sit as an interviewer. It's a mock interview conducts inside the class, will help you a lot and you will get a lot of confidences. And surprisingly, your friends will give unexpected question to you, and it will be a fun activities also. Appearance and body language, very, very, very important. Dress appropriately, your groomings, maintain eye contact and smile. Say, how do we keep eye contact? Start with a person with a sender, then move right, slowly come to the sender, move to the left, slowly come to the sender, move right. Then 2-3 times you can do that. Then you can look randomly. Whoever is asking questions, look at them and smile and respond. So give an eye contact, then give a small smile, 1 second, then start responding. So your brain will get a time to answer. Listen them first. Listening is very, very important. So instead of your talking, listen them first. Understand the questions, then answer. Follow up, send a thank you mail after the interview. Now, checklist for an interview. So even before going for an interview, you have to prepare something. So this is a preparation stage. 1 week before, whenever you get the advertisement, send that resume, then you prepare. Research the company. Checklist number 1, research the company that I have already told you. What are the things you have to research? About the company, about the industry, about the history of the companies, management, etc. Understand the job descriptions and required skill for that particular job. Prepare answer for common questions like what is your weakness, what are your strengths, and why should we hire you? That we will discuss later. Prepare 2-3 questions to ask for the interviewers. You have to ask some question to them. That also we will discuss later. Review your resumes and covering letter. Resume that already we have discussed. We should have a beautiful covering letter also. Covering letter can be typed format, or you can put it in an email also. In the covering letter should be brief. Even that also matter. Then practice using STAR method or behavioral questions. When we discuss about behavioral questions, we will use the STAR method and we will practice. Plan your journey to the interview venues and arrive at the venue 10 to 15 minutes early. Say suppose the interview is at 9 o'clock, you have to travel 150 kilometers, at least to be there in that city one day before and plan accordingly. Be there in the interview venue by 15 minutes early. And once you reach the interview venue, please don't look at your resumes there are a lot of, I have seen some people, they by heart the interview questions. That is a foolish decision. Please don't do that. Relax. You relax yourself, see, walk around the company, see what are the things inside that particular company, and you can have a network also with the other people who are next to you. Talk to them, relax. That will give you a lot of confidence and understand how the other people are also. And choose a professional attire. And one more thing is, when you talk to the other person, if he is overqualified, overexperienced, don't get worried about that. It is not about experience, it is not about the qualification. Sometimes company will be looking for freshers or less qualified people. So don't get bored with that. You talk to them pleasantly, smile, look around. So that is how we need to spend that 10 minutes. Choose a professional attire, clear, ironed, and industry appropriate professional attire. Then, so this is what before interview, be on time, get resume ready, get your folders ready, everything ready. Now during the interview, what you have to do is, first initially they will call for your name. So open the door, greet politely with a smile, from a shake hand if cultural appropriately it is permitted. Most of the time the shake hand will not be permitted, but have a smile, maintain good postures and eye contact. How do you create eye contact? Eye contact is start with the sender person. Suppose there are 4 persons. Sender, move to the right, then move to sender, move to the left, move to the sender 3 times. Then random. Do not look backside or upside, downside, etc. That shows a bad lack of confidence in your body language. So eye contact is very important. Smile and eye contact. That itself will give you a lot of confidence. Listen carefully to the question before answering. If you don't understand the questions, you can ask, can you please repeat? I didn't get it. Okay? You can ask that question. Can you please repeat? Listen carefully. And just give a pause, small pause. Before answering, give a small pause to the questions, then start answering. When the person asks question, look at him, have a smile, by which you get, your brain will be already ready to answer. Shoot the answer. Keep the answer clear, structured and concise. Highlight your skill, achievements with examples. So for that, you have to use action words. Now, show enthusiasm for the role and the company. Why you are to that particular company, you have to explain. Avoid negative talk about the previous employees or teachers. Negative talk about previous employers will give you negative point. Ask thoughtful question at the end and think that interview for their time. We have to thank them because they are spending some time for you. So we have to thank the interviewers at the end. Now, what are the things you need to take care after the interviews? So interviews over, beautifully it is conducted. They have acquired they have understood all your skill and experience and expertise. Now, after the interviews, reflect what went well, what can I improve, what are the things went well. You please write a note, take a notebook, write it down. What are the points, what are the good things went on, and what are the bad things, where I have to improve myself. You can note it down. Yes, this point, when he asked about my weakness, I could not answer properly. So I have to improve in that particular things. Or when he asked about my skill, I could not talk well. So I have to improve in that. Then practice. When you go for the next interview, you can improve in that. Write down the questions asked for the practice. Send a polite thank you email within 24 hours. After the interview, you have to design a small thanking letter and send it to the HR. Follow up professionally. If no response after 1 or 2 weeks, sometime it will take time. So professionally you follow. Now, dear students, we will move to the part of an interview. What are the interview parts? If you conduct an interview also, and we need to understand what kind of, what are the part of interview and what are the sections in interview. The first is initial part. It is an ice-breaking stage. Why this particular stage is to make the candidate comfortable and set the tone. The interviewers will smile at you and they will start talking. Okay, so in this particular stage, greetings, small talks like how was your journey here, have you had your breakfast, have you had your lunch, etc. Some kind of ice breaking should happen between the interviewers and interviewees. So that is to cool down the candidate. So interviews explain the formats, etc. Greet polite. At that particular point, that particular time itself, you need to impress the interviewers. So smile them, give eye contact, greet them politely, say, good morning, sir, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for inviting me to this particular company. Thank you for inviting me. Enough, keep quiet then. Then they'll start asking questions. Make a positive first impression about, on them. Now, opening question. Start learning about the candidate. The second part is opening questions. So initially, maybe 1 minute, they will check your resume. At that particular time, you just look at all the people, give eye contact, smile. They will ask some small questions. That is ice-breaking time. Now, we move to the opening questions. Purpose is to start learning about the candidate. So if you want to learn about the candidate, if you are an interviewer, how do you conduct interview? To start learning about the candidate, you ask some question. Tell me about yourself. That will be the first question. Definitely tell me about yourself or introduce yourself. Why do you choose this particular field or course, etc. For that, we need to prepare for this particular answer. Say, how do you introduce yourself? I will introduce myself and then you get an idea of how to introduce yourself. Myself, Abdurahman, Karuthedath, Assistant Professor, Malabar College of Advanced Studies, Vengara. So that is my first thing. Then about my family, my father, my mother. I have father, mother, 3 members in my family. About my education, I have done my PG, first highest qualification, then chronologically. I have done my PG from University of Calicut, degree from such and such colleges, +2. Then I have done course, online course from this and that. Then about my experience, then about my hobbies, interest, etc. My hobby is reading, watching TV, movies, etc. Enough. 2 minutes maximum. Now, background and experience discussion. Say, once you introduce yourself, they start assessing the qualification, skill, and experience of that particular person. Say, once you introduce yourself, and also in your resume, there will be educations and project internship, etc. You start asking questions on that. Usually, interviewers start asking questions about your education, your projects, in your internships, etc. Clarification about your resumes. Say, sometimes they will have some doubt about your resume. In your skill, in your education, etc. Please clarify that. Next, skill competency questions. So test your technical knowledge. The next thing is level may be to test your technical knowledge, problem solving capacity, etc. Say it will be subject related or job specific questions, hypothetical scenarios, etc. that we will discuss, etc. in detail. So students, the tip for that, we should be very clear, logical, and if unsure, explain how you would find the answers. Okay. Now, behavioral questions. Check your teamwork, leadership, communications, and decision making. This one we will discuss in detail later. And finally, closings and warm up. So initially start with ice breaking, then about your learning about yourself. Interviewer will learn about yourself, then about your qualifications and education, then about your experience, then about your skill. Finally, by 10 to 15 minutes, the closings, to end the interview politely and explain the next step. What happens? Interviewer thank you. Many may explain when the result will be announced. This is an opportunity for you to restate the interest. Okay. Dear students, now we will move to the types of interview questions. This area we have to be very focused, because what kind of questions an interviewer will be asked, we have to be very careful. Initially, we will discuss about the traditional questions usually interviewers ask. The first thing is, tell me about yourself. The first question will be, tell me about yourself. Say, why this particular question? It is to understand, just to make an ice breaking, check your communication skill, and see if you are relevant for that particular, if you are fit to that particular job. Then start, how do you answer? Start with your education, experience, highlight your skill and achievements, end with your career goal. So you can start with myself, about my family, about my education, about my area of interest, about my skill. Enough. Okay? This is how you need to connect in your brain about your myself, about my family, about my education, about my skill, about my experience. Then you can keep mum. The second traditional question is, why should we hire you? Test your self-confidence, fit to that particular role. Show how your skill match to that particular job. Explain them with showing how your skill is matching to that particular job. Add 1 or 2 achievements as a proof. You should explain this with action words. That I have already told you what is action words. Explain this with action words and keep it confident, not arrogant way. Then, what are your strengths? Very definite questions. See if your strength fit to that particular role. Relevant strength, 2 to 3 relevant strengths. Don't say full biography of you. Instead, give an example of that with the action words. Then, what is your weakness? Test your honesty, self-awareness, and growth mindset. Say, you can tell openly your weakness, but in a professional way. Now, what do you see yourself in 5 years? If it is to see you had a career directions and loyalty. Say, what do you see, where do you see? How do you reflect yourself after 5 years? What job role you have been taking, etc. We have to prepare for that. We have to have a career goal. Then only we can say this answer. Now, do you have any question for us? This is a general question. Do you have any questions for us? Ask some question. Say, if you should prepare and go, say one question could be, what skill do you value most in this particular role? How does the team usually collaborate on the projects, etc. So some of the questions, you prepare yourself and go. That will give a confidence about yourself to that particular, to the HR people. Now, so next type of questions are behavioral interview questions. So usually traditional questions we prepare ourselves and go, but these kind of questions sometimes we will fail to answer. Behavioral questions are usually start with, tell me about a time when. Behavioral questions are actually what, it is to test what role you have already done. Usually these questions are asked your personal experience. Already you had some experience, that to explain. So tell me about a time when, this is the actual questions, okay? You have showed your leadership role. Give me an example of how do you solve the problem, or you solved a conflict between your friends and in the company, etc. Usually behavioral questions are asked for experienced people. Even if you are not experienced, you should explain that with your personal life. Say in the college, you can take a issue in the college, you can take in programs in the college, or give an example of how do you showed your leadership. So you should have a story bank for that. Describe a situation where do you showed your team time management, adaptability. So these are the common themes: teamwork, problem solving, leadership conflict, management, time management, adaptabilities, etc. So this particular segment of questions are actually you asked about, it is the real things happened in your life. So you should explain the real things happened in your life. Don't say all bluffings, stories, wrong things, because interviewers will be always looking at your face. They can catch you, and they will give you long marks also. So dear students, you just, even before going to an interview, prepare some question for that. So if a question is asked, give an example of how you have showed your teamwork. You think about your NSS, or think about any college tour, or think about any activities inside the college, and how did you performed in that particular thing or a particular time, and create a story of that. Okay. Next is behavioral question. We should start with the STAR method. What is STAR method? S stands for situation. Set the context first. Second is task. Third is A is action, R is result. This is a mental framework we have to use to answer a particular question. STAR. First, put a situation. Where, when. Say for example, NSS. I was an NSS coordinator. The task was to act as a coordinator, and we have given a task to clean or construct 2 houses for the needy people of our area, and we could complete. The result is we could complete that house within 6 months. That is the result. Beautifully, you can hang in your brain the points. So start with the situation, then what the task, then what are the action you have taken, then what is the result. The STAR method will give you a beautiful idea on how to answer the behavioral question. Now, prepare a story bank, real stories of your life. 5 to 10, maybe 5 to 7 real stories from your life, project, internship, volunteering, college events, etc. Okay? Rehearse that. Tell your friends. Rehearse that by telling the stories to your friend. Okay? Then show the result and learning. Recruiters, HR people love when you mention numbers, impact, reduce errors by 15%. Always try to use the statistics. Not wrong statistics, but right statistics. I could reduce the conflict between 2 people. That 2 is important. I could manage constructing 2 houses. That number 2 is important. So show the result instead of saying I had this responsibility, that responsibility, but show the impact and tell them the impact. Share learning experience taught me in that particular things, and stay positive. Even if the story is about the conflict or failure, ends with a positive outcome or lesson you have learned. Now, we have discussed about behavioral questions. Now it is a situational questions. Situational questions are usually hypothetical questions. That is what the difference between behavioral questions and situational questions. Behavioral questions are actually happened in your life, but situational questions are hypothetical questions that you suppose if you are in that particular role, how do you behave? A simple funny questions will be, suppose if you would have been the Chief Minister of Kerala or the Prime Minister of India, how will you manage that particular situation? Is that just a funny question? I just want to make you understand. That is how these behavioral situational questions asked. It is a situation where if you would have to get that particular role, if you would have to appointed as marketing manager of this particular company, and suppose our company is in loss and you are appointed as a marketing manager, how can you make this particular company profitable? Is be a situational question. So it may be about the problem solving, critical thinking. Usually it is all the situation question will be critical thinking questions, communication skill questions, and leadership, teamwork, decision making. And critical thinking and decision making are two important traits that is measured usually in the situational questions. And ethical judgment, that is hidden things they will cache from you. Say, suppose, for example, one person is every day one person is coming late and you are appointed as a manager, and that particular person is the top performer of the company. He is coming late and he is a performer, but every day he is late. How do you take a decisions on that? So at that particular question, ethical judgment is very, very important. Whether company's rule or company law is important, or company's ethics is important, or performance is important, it's the ethical judgment. So such kind of questions will be asked. Yes, what would you do if your team missed a deadline? It's a situational question. How do you handle a disagreement with your managers? It can be a situational question. If you were given a project, if you were very important, actually you are not given any project. It is a situation outside your expertise. How do you manage it? That particular question is asking for to check your learning ability. What would you do if a customer complained about your poor services? How do you motivate disengaged team members? These are some of the examples of situational questions. So, thank you for patient listening. We have discussed in detail how you prepare for an interview, why we should have an interview strategy, and how do you prepare for interview, what are the questions will be asked in interview. There will be traditional questions, situational questions, and behavioral questions, and what are the segments of an interviews, and initial stage, and then education qualification stage, experience stage, and how do you end up and wind up an interview. Then we have discussed different types of interview questions. So thank you for patient listening. Have a nice day.